This is the future. Evolution. This is the future. Evolution.
Greetings, mortals, and welcome. Please present your tickets for validation. Thank you. Your existence has been acknowledged, and you have been granted access every Thursday and Friday. You will be accompanying your guides, Kristen and Brandy, along with a world-renowned guest. They will be exploring an intriguing tendril of what humans refer to as reality each week, as they strive to advance you further down the path to the truths of your physical earth and what lies on the other side. Remember to please keep your hands and feet in the vehicle at all times, and do not exit until the craft has come to a complete stop.
Hey, happy Thursday. How are you, Tex?
Doing good.
You are the funniest looking Brandy I ever saw.
I'm prettier. That's just it. I'm not used to it yet.
So those of you that may not know,
people like me.
there you go. Brandy is getting more snow tonight, and she got called into work extra early, so she has to she has a Jeep, and she has to work on charging the battery and getting that ready and all that good stuff. So Brandy has the night off tonight, and Tex graciously filled in, and BMR was here, and I don't know where he went to. He was here and gone. So anyway, how are you tonight, Tex?
You know what? I'm pretty good. We got nothing compared to what y'all got up there. I mean, it's, but we got like a half inch of ice, and then it snowed about 3 inches on top of it, and then we got some more coming in tonight. And then what's got me, not me concerned, because I ain't getting out in it, just saying, but it's supposed to hit about almost 40 degrees tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
And then tomorrow, and then about halfway through, it's supposed to drop down to 22. It's going to be nasty.
Yeah. Yep.
It's going to be nasty. That stuff melts a little bit.
And then it freezes back up.
Yeah. And down here, the big thing that Texas is really known for when it gets nasty weather like this is black ice.
Yeah.
And
I bet a lot of accidents.
A bucket of water on the highway, nobody knows how to drive through it. But
I was just going to say, probably nobody knows how to drive through it in Texas.
No, they don't. They don't.
Don't ride your brakes.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's like I said, it's nothing compared to what y'all are getting up there. But we don't know what the hell we're doing down here. So
well, we had quite a I don't know what you want to call it. Honestly, it was just nasty here over the weekend, and but it's over with now. So I'm glad it's done. It's over with until tonight. Now we do have another like 2 to 4 or something they're calling for. But it's not the snow apocalypse that we had. So I had seen the official count here was 12.7 inches for where I live.
See, that's a freaking blizzard down here.
Right? I hear you.
We call rain Texas snow because that's what we get. It's I don't know, man. But thank God it's nothing like it was a couple of years or a few years ago, when our power grid just took a dump and, everybody.
Right.
I mean, negative temperatures. We don't get very often at all.
Yeah.
We thought it was the end of the world. We were making, we were joining cults and everything, and
Right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's I don't know. When you guys get the bad weather down there, it's not because it's not normal,
Yeah, we aren't prepared for it. Now, I will say this. They were yesterday afternoon. They were already out pre-treating the roads, and even before that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure that makes a heck of a difference, But
yeah, that's what they did here too. So I'm thankful because we got our snow apocalypse. What was it, last Friday? And by Wednesday they had the roads treated. So it worked. No, it was Thursday and we got it on Saturday. So
right.
Yeah. Anyway, we have a conference coming up.
We do.
We do. Let's talk about that briefly. We have, we have everybody and their brother coming to our conference.
I know, right? It's crazy. It's like the who's who of the paranormal, UFO, and Bigfoot world.
Yeah, it really is. So I'm going to bring up the flyer here, and this is the latest one that Jason got to us all. I guess yesterday he sent that to us all.
Yeah,
but
we're driving that way. We're driving. I'm surprised his head hadn't exploded yet.
I know, right? Because I drive him nuts. I know I do. But we have Josh Hurd, Heather Mosier, Small Town Monsters, William Lunsford, Lady Ann Celine. She's going to be speaking with Ron Murphy, and they're going to be talking about the Fae. Dr. Dean Bertram is going to talk a little UFO alien type stuff. And Greg Ogles, he will be talking, and Frankie and Dan from Haunted Souls and Haunted Garage. They have both. And they are bringing a haunted car. We added to the lineup Sir Brian Bowden, so that's going to be a fun one. And then another one that I'm pretty excited about too is Miguel Ramirez. He's from Watch Theory. So, and I've been a fan of that for a long time. I've watched all of his videos. So, special guest, we have Ken Gerhard, Dana Stricker, Brent Thomas, Ryan Edwards, Mike Familiant, Chris Garitano, Linda Eastburn, David Glidden. So I'm pretty excited about that too, because, I know David Glidden, Linda Eastburn, Chris Garitano, Mike Familiant, they've all have their own documentaries out and stuff. So
right.
Yeah, it's,
and we're going to add, and we're adding one more special guest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go ahead and put this out there. We talked about doing it the other day, and I didn't, but she was in a car wreck the other day.
Oh wow!
A high speed car wreck. So I don't know if she's going to be able to make the show like she was what we were planning on the 20th. So I'm going to go ahead and announce it. And a lot of y'all that's been out there for a few years are going to recognize this name. But if you don't know this name, her channel is still up. Now, this is the girl. I say girl. This is the gal that I went to first with my encounter. She's what got me. She's why I'm sitting here right now. Okay. And her name's Danielle Stedman. Her YouTube channel, which she's fixing to come back. And that's what this is all about. She's gonna, come back, make her comeback on with the Front Porch Crew. Mm-hmm. And, if you go check out her channel, it's Dogman Diaries. And she was on These Woods Are Haunted and Vic's show and everything. I mean, but she was the one that really, when I started talking to her, really started connecting dots for me. And we figured out that this critter was around, he just wasn't passing through. He had been around for at least a year. Yeah. Before I saw him. Wow. And yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's very, and probably the most detailed version of my encounter is on her channel, because it was the first time I ever told it publicly.
Wow. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. So that's be a good bonus to our conference. We've got a lot going on that weekend, and the ghost hunt is sold out. However, there's still conference tickets. There's still meet and greet tickets available, so those you can get those. We're also looking for vendors. So if you're a vendor, come on, we can use you.
And one thing I'm excited about is Friday night, because it's almost like a conference on Friday night.
Yeah.
I mean, because we've got Miguel speaking, and we've got Christopher's going to show his documentary.
Yep.
So you get a dinner and a show that night, folks.
Right.
So,
and they'll still get the full 2 hours for the meet and greet beforehand, or Miguel speaks, and then after Miguel, Chris Garitano is going to show his documentary. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a great time, and it's definitely action packed. We're not raising the prices because we're doing extra stuff. It's just whoever's bought tickets, gets bonuses. That's the way I look at it. So it's cheap. Tickets are, if you want the VIP package for the meet and greet, and that gets you Friday and Saturday, that's $60.
Yep.
And then if you just want to come to the conference on Saturday, it's just $35. So it's cheap.
And the vendor area is open. Everything's open to the public for free. I mean, you can come and hobnob with all the speakers are going to be, all the special guests are having table, and plus all the other vendors.
Yep.
So if you can't afford the ticket, but you can afford the trip, and it's worth it. It is absolutely worth it. Even researchers out there, folks, if you're a researcher or you're trying to get your own channel started or something like this, you can't go to a better event than this and network. I'm telling you, because there are going to be so many freaking high-powered names at this conference.
Or even thinking about, if you're thinking about like starting like filming your own documentaries and stuff. We got Greg Ogles, and we've got Heather Mosier and Sasquatch Theory. All three of them do that, and Chris Garitano. So there's plenty of people to talk to, all that good stuff. My blog, Sunny asked, what time is dinner meet and greet? So actually the meet and greet is going to start at 5:00, and it will go till probably about 10:30 or 11.
Yep.
So
it is going to be a very busy but an awesome weekend. I mean,
it sure is.
I honestly have never been to a conference that's anything like this, and I've been to a few. I've spoken at a few, and this one is just. And folks, it grew organically on us. It's just like a snowball, man. It just went. Yeah. Golly, and we're even shocked. Well,
it's just, we have so many friends. We made so many friends in this community. And, it's like, if you guys want to come on, man, more the merrier. That's how we look at it. And everybody's, wanting to come. And so we definitely appreciate them all, for sure.
People don't mind hanging around you when you don't stir the pot behind the scenes.
There you go.
Loud, I'm sorry.
Sinfully, she asked, hubby thinks he saw the ad for the conference on Facebook. He probably did. It's been shared out quite a bit. So I'm not going to waste any more time. We have a good show planned tonight. She looks ready backstage there. And we have, drum roll, Kristen Payton. Hello.
Hey.
Who's also going to be at the conference.
Wait, really? Hold on.
Hey, well, I was going to, this is your official invitation to come.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
So it looks like a good one.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Great conference coming up.
Yeah. So let us know.
This is really how we got so many guests. We just wait and we put them on the spot so they can't say anything.
And then just be like, yes, thank you. I forgot to make that.
And then backstage we're going, well, now I gotta go.
No, but seriously, on a serious note, you are more than welcome to come.
Well, thank you.
For sure.
I appreciate that. You guys have a good lineup going on.
Yeah, we're pretty excited about that. It's going to be a good time. And Greg, our mutual friend, Greg Ogles, he's one of our speakers for that conference. So
quite a few of the names.
Yeah.
I tolerate Greg. He's okay.
He's all right. He's all right. Speaking of Greg, so the reason that I had Brandy and I were talking about setting guests up, and I was like, let's invite Kristen because we thought that we were going to see you this past weekend, obviously.
No.
But I'm like, let's talk about the film and all that good stuff. So since Brandy and I didn't get to go, I'm glad that you had agreed to come on the week after, so we can talk more about it. Because for those of you that haven't seen this film, it's Cryptic Expeditions: The Land Between the Lakes. Kristen, you're on it as well.
I am. I'm in it along with a little bit of my group. We're the first part of the film, and then The Land Between the Lakes is the last portion of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's. I know you had sent your bio, all that good stuff. Let's rewind, and
Okay.
You want to tell folks how you got into this, because I know music was a big part.
Right. Yes, it was. I grew up in Northeast Georgia, a little town of Elberton. And matter of fact, I'm still here. I move away, I come back. I move away, I come back. So it's home. It's home for now. And I was, 16 years old and played in a country band with my parents and a bunch of their friends. And we were just taking a break.
Mm-hmm.
My friend, who was the lead singer, his wife, we decided to hop on the four-wheeler and take a little trip to the very end of my parents' property, which was right by a beaver pond and a creek. And there's some eagle nests. If you got right out on the corner and looked out over the water, you could see the eagle's nest. And every now and then an eagle would fly by you. So we just took off, and it was a normal day. It was summer, beautiful. Looking at the eagle's nest, and we had something come towards us, pretty much charging us through the woods.
Wow.
And yes, whatever it was, I say it's Bigfoot. I'm always hesitant to say I saw Bigfoot because I didn't see a face, but I don't know what else it could have been at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, this creature, this Bigfoot, got between us and the four-wheeler, stared us down. We really thought we were going to die. And her name was Susie. I was with Susie, and Susie was screaming, "We're going to die, we're going to die." Threw me out front for sacrifice. Thanks, Susie.
Wow.
Funny now. It wasn't then, but it's funny now. And anyway, this thing, it just stared us down. Like I said, it charged at us coming through the bushes. And I guess when it saw that either we were no harm or we were not going to taste that well, I'm not sure, it just turned and walked away. And when it hit the little pig path we come down, I actually got a bit more of a look at it, more than just a standing in the woods. And it clearly had an arm. It clearly had fingers. It was massive. It was massive.
How tall do you think it was?
I'm going to say, it was a lot taller than a normal human. I'm going for 7-ish foot tall.
Wow.
And I always describe the width of it being as wide, if not a little wider, than a football player with all of their gear on. Just the width of it. And I've been up against the Georgia Bulldog football players. They're massive, especially with their gear on. They're just so wide. And this thing was at least that wide, if not wide.
Wow.
And I've always had an interest in the cryptid, paranormal, ET, in that world, I guess you could say. I've always had an interest, but it wasn't until I had my sighting that I'm like, it's real.
Yeah. What was going through your mind? I know your friend, threw you out for bait. However, what was honestly going through your mind at that time, though?
In my mind, I'm sitting there trying to plan my escape. But the only way I could go was either towards this creature, which was standing between us and the four-wheeler, or behind us, which I'm surrounded by a creek on one side and a pond on the other. So what was going through my head was, I'm stuck and I might die. This may be it. And then also I'm sitting there going, what is this? I know it's not a human. I'm sitting there looking at it. If it was a person, I would have hollered or talked. It would be a normal reaction. What are you doing?
Right.
But I'm looking at it because it's not a human,
Mm-hmm.
but something obviously on two legs. It's quite massive. So
Wow.
a lot of confusion and that was going through my head.
So after that initial shock, and I mean it's standing there and everything. So what happened after? I mean, did it just walk off, or how did y'all
It
get?
did.
When I mean y'all eventually made it back to your four-wheeler,
Right. Yeah.
right? Um, what was the conversation?
There really was no conversation going towards the four-wheeler. I mean, it was just that automatic. We look at each other. We saw it walk off. We heard it walk off. We did not move until you could no longer hear it. And we took off running, hopped on the four-wheeler. We were going as fast as we could. And it was just like in a nightmare when you have like a boogeyman chasing you, just can't get away fast enough. And it was like living in a nightmare. You just couldn't go fast. But we made it back to, we call it the studio, made it back to the studio. Of course, we're at that point almost hysterical, like hollering, like, oh my, y'all won't believe what we saw. Like, we saw this. Come look, we are just hollering because we can't believe what we saw.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the guys and the husbands and my parents are like, oh, you saw a bobcat.
A 7 foot
7 foot tall bobcat.
Yeah. They're like, well, you saw a bear. And there were bear on the property. I mean, we've seen bears. It's not uncommon to see bears. So they're like, well, you probably saw a bear standing on two legs, and no.
Right.
It was too big, and this did not have the profile of a bear.
Wow.
Yeah,
So you do have a quick question here. Paranormal Paul asked real quick. He said, Kristen, are you still friends with the person who pushed you out front?
Yes. I still speak with them quite often and love them to death.
There you go.
Yes.
So after the dust settled, per se, what was the conversation over time that y'all had? I mean, was it like, oh my God, I mean, y'all off in the corner, oh my God, you know what we saw? What are we going to do? Are we crazy? What kind of take me through that? Because a lot of people, and the reason I'm doing this, I know I kind of put you on the spot, but the reason I'm doing this is because I've been really trying to focus on, or refocus actually, on helping people deal with the traumatic, stuff that goes on through your head. And after seeing one of these things, because a lot of people, and you're in the medical field, and people process trauma differently.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to focus on, showing different aspects of that. How did y'all deal with this? Because I mean, this had to just shatter your reality,
I did. So as far as Susie, she no longer went back into the woods. And she would actually take the four-wheeler while we were playing and practicing in the studio. She would actually hop on the four-wheeler and ride around my parents' property. Right. She no longer did that anymore. I don't think she ever got back on the four-wheeler. She may have, but she never let the, ride around the studio. And she just, still to this day, is like, oh my gosh, can you believe we saw Bigfoot? We actually lost contact for a while. The band kind of split up. I went into nursing school. Life happened. So we lost contact. But still to this day, she speaks about, I'm never going into the woods. Can you believe that? Oh my gosh. And as far as me, I had a lot of nightmares. And I still have them. But it was, I kind of put it to the side, kind of pushed it back. And I did get in touch with some crew from BFRO. They did come down and investigate. So me actually speaking with them, learning, hey, I'm not crazy, because I kind of felt that crazy spectrum of, I saw Bigfoot, what? No. So I felt a little crazy. But after speaking with them, it really helped me get through. It is okay that I say I saw Bigfoot. I'm not alone.
Right.
Right.
But yeah, it did. It left me with nightmares.
Wow. So you had mentioned in your bio that once your parents bought the property where you had that incident, that neighbors knew that they were there.
Mhm. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that? How you were brave enough to say something to the neighbors? And
Yeah. Well, when my parents bought the property, the neighbor next door, they were already friends with. And he spoke about this creature that lived on the property. And matter of fact, I think he calls it the monster. And he kept saying it lived in the caves. We need to go blow it up. He said there's this monster that lives in the caves. He said lives back behind the property. And he had tried to talk my dad, let's go blow it up. Let's go blow it up. And my dad's like, no, really, no. And he would laugh it off. And we would kind of laugh it off. But he said, no, there's a monster. It lives on his property. It got a hold to he had a wolf as a pet. It got a hold to his wolf. And I'm not sure maybe if he saw it at that point. But the wolf never left the property again. And it stayed right by the house. But yeah, he kind of warned us of that. And we also had another gentleman in the area who has had encounters with it. Called it the creature. He never come out and said Bigfoot or anything like that, but he called it the creature, and has gotten some really good looks at it. Footprints. It actually killed his ducks at his pond. And
wow.
Yeah. And he said the way this thing would kill the ducks was it would split the duck down the sternal area, just split it open and eat certain parts and leave the ducks laying.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's
No,
crazy.
So it wouldn't eat the entire duck. It would just eat the sweetmeat.
Right. And it would just discard the ducks. But he said it killed all of my ducks. And lots of footprints. He said very large footprints. But he's seen it. Apparently family has seen it. So when my dad was saying, oh, you saw a bear, until he spoke with that neighbor, he was like, maybe you did see something.
Right? I find that really interesting because you don't hear that often. If big normally, if Bigfoot's going to kill something, he's going to eat it. He just takes it with him.
Mm-hmm.
They must not like duck.
Or at least not all of the duck. Yeah.
That's just that strikes me as strange.
Yeah. And
So do you believe that there was just one, or there is a family of them there possibly?
I think it's a family. When my parents bought the property, we were kind of exploring the area, and it was 30 acres wooded, 30 acres of nothing but wood. So we would get down in the weekend and walk around, and we found some beds. That's the only way I can describe it is beds. And if I can remember right, because I was 12, 11, I was a little bit younger, it was 3 beds, a big one, a medium, and a little one. Okay. And it was in a thicket of briars, and we just happened upon them. And the way I guess you could call it matted down and woven, you could tell that there was something that had been there, and that was its home.
Yeah.
I can't remember a lot of detail about, but I do remember seeing the beds and was going, And Daddy was like, well, it's so big. The big one was so large. He said, it's got to be a bear.
Wow.
And so we just assumed it was large bear beds.
Could you tell what it was made of? Like, was it sticks or?
It was, so it was in a thicket of brush and briars and just very heavily wooded right around it. Wow. And then the center, it was kind of cleared out from what I can remember, like the long strands of grass that you would see in the field. It was almost like that as a softer area, like the bedding portion, and just surrounded by the thicket of briars and vines.
Wow. Does your family still own that property?
No.
Oh.
They sold the last of it in 2020.
Oh, that's a bummer.
It is.
had there still been Bigfoot on the
Yeah.
property?
Yes. 2023. I'm sitting here because now we're into a new year. I'm sitting here going, what year is it? But I think it was 2023. I actually got to cast a large footprint and a small footprint and was able to follow a track line. So they are still there. Now, whether they live there, I don't think so, because there's been more people to move into the area that's cleared out some of the woods. And it's just becoming a little bit more populated.
Sure.
But they are still there, at least come through, because I casted a very nice footprint. And then a small one, I think it was 2.5 or 3.5 inches wide.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just a young,
young
footprint. Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. It's a shame that your family don't have it anymore because, right in the backyard, all the time.
I know it. And my mom, she hated to sell the property, but they wanted to be more closer to town. And
Can understand that. For sure.
yeah, but she actually had an experience down there. The first experience we had with a possible Bigfoot creature was with my mom, and not myself. It was right after we moved there. They cleared out area for a home, and she was out on the back porch, and I don't even think the construction was completed. So she was standing out on the back porch, and it was a summer night. I do remember that. And she said she was sitting there thinking about, how nice, to be out of the city and privacy. And she said all of a sudden something let out this scream, roar.
Wow.
It terrified her. And to this day, she hasn't been able to find out, or I guess match up that type of a sound roar with anything.
Yeah. Wow. That's pretty incredible. It really is. It really is. How did you, okay, let's fast forward then. How did you get involved with the Meadows?
It was just meeting one person, introducing to another. Like I said, I contacted BFRO and had a few of those come down to investigate, and was able to meet that crew, which then introduced me to another set of Bigfooters in the area.
Mm-hmm.
I got to meet Dave Moser and Rick Corliss, and still friends with them, good people.
Awesome.
They introduced me to Bob Wilson. He's passed away now, but he had Northeast Georgia Cryptid Researchers. So I got hooked up with him. And then through him, I met Trey Hudson, who's leader of ASOG and over the Meadow Project. Mm-hmm. Just by meeting someone, meeting another, and just forming friendships. Now become family, though.
Right. Oh, I get that. I get how that works. And it's amazing. Yeah. Totally understand that. How long have you been a part of the project there at the Meadows?
Let's see. I've been, I would say, about 8 years. I know I've been out in the woods about 10.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe I come on with ASOG a year or two later. So about 8-ish years.
Wow. That's quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
You're back, BMR.
I tried to fix some things, and you know what I did, Krista? Hi, Kristen. How are you?
Hi.
I love Kristen. She's so awesome. Yeah, I made my computer worse. I was so mad that I had to take a time out for myself. I don't know what I did. I can't navigate on my computer. I can't do anything. But I said, you know what? I'm still going to come back on. I let out all my frustrations outside in the 13-degree weather. I shed all my clothes, and I ran around in my underwear.
There you go.
To bring down my blood pressure.
So why don't you get a hold of Randy? And I bet he could walk.
I'm going to get a hold of Randy. Yeah, it's just... I just can't do anything on this. So I don't know what I hit the wrong button, but we all hit the wrong buttons and we normally can recover. For whatever reason, good old BMR could not recover. It's a problem for another day, but I wanted to come back on and see little Kristen and you, and of course her text. Text 20 shows in the last 2 days. I don't know what's up with that, but yeah, it's all good.
You've been doing a bunch of them for sure.
Yeah, yes.
Let's go back to the meadows and let's talk more about that because like the different videos and things that I've seen on it. BMR had Trey Hudson on his show that I co-host with, and it seems like it's a scary place, really. I mean, everything that goes on there. Can you talk about some of the weirdness?
Yes. Gosh, where do you start?
Right.
It's a center for weirdness. You have a mixture of cryptid, paranormal, ET, or interdimensional. You throw all that together and drop it in this area, and welcome to the meadow. So you will see and experience disembodied voices.
Thanks, Rob.
Yep.
You will see creatures. There's a lot of crafts you see, possibly UFOs or lights in the skies. You name it, you will experience at the meadow.
So do you ever see like where you might see a UFO and then maybe, see a ghost sighting all, within just minutes where, of each other? Or
I wouldn't say within minutes of each other, but it's not uncommon to hear a disembodied voice or a lady singing and see a possible UFO in the sky in the same night. That's not uncommon. And then you add all the odd equipment malfunctions and failures, throw that into the mix, because of course we're out there trying to document and take data. And when your equipment malfunctions, you're just like, we can write this down, pencil and paper, but we have no way to document this now.
Wow. Yeah. It's pretty amazing. I think that Greg's video just touched briefly on actually what you guys really do there.
It was. And the bad thing about researching, and I know you guys know this as well, you can go out to an area 20 times and you may have one night of activity. It's a hit or miss. And that one night, you may be up all night long. The weirdness may start at 7 p.m. and it may not end till 7 a.m. Right. And then you go out there the next week and
nothing. Right. Absolutely.
Hey, can I ask you something, Kristen?
Sure.
When it comes to these portals, I know all about the meadow, your research, Trey's research, and the unfortunate. I just came on late, and I know you probably brought this up already. I think that because I remember people went into the portal, right? Which is something that I would really entertain doing. But I got to tell you, we just don't understand what we're dealing with because of the serious health implications with that. What's your thoughts on that? Do you recommend? I know some people inadvertently walk through a portal, right? Because people do. I think portals are part of the missing 411. But boy, I told Krista, put a chain around my waist. I'll walk through that portal. Let's just, tie that chain around a car and pull me back in. That's probably science fiction, but that has a lot to do with that. That really is. There's something going on where it really screws up your anatomy.
Yeah. And I know when we have some odd things happen and possible in the area where the portal was, EMF detectors go off. We do have radiation spikes on the Geiger counter. So we do have corresponding data that things change when the weirdness begins. So the two gentlemen that walked the deepest into the portal, and that would be Bob Wilson and Tim Gillardin, they both passed away. Tim passed away with really an unknown issue, really not a final diagnosis, but he passed quite unexpectedly. And then Bob developed cancer. Wow. Now, Daryl did walk into the portal, stayed right on the edge of it. He was person number 3, but now Bob and Tim went deeper. So I'm not sure if maybe they had some health effects, some negative health issues due to that. We can't say 100% there was a correlation between walking into the portal and this, but it's mighty odd that happened.
How far did they walk in? I mean, I've got all kinds of questions. Like, I mean, did they just walk in freely, or did somebody have a hold of them, or like, what was the circumstances?
They walked in freely. When I was recording, the portal actually was dissipating, and you couldn't see the box anymore by the time they started walking to it. And we were guiding them in by radio communication. Hey, walk to your left. Hey, it's in front. Go this way. Go that way. So we guided them to the area where it was. And as they're walking in, and you still see a faint outline of a box, but as they're walking into that area, that's when their heat signatures began to just disappear off the screen. And I would say they walked, 50 feet. Or no, probably not even 50 feet. I'd say probably about 20 feet.
Quite a ways, though, really.
Yeah, quite a ways, because it's hard for me to judge distance, and also I wasn't the one in there. And then I couldn't see them. I lost them off the thermal, so I can't quite see how deep they did walk in. I'd say between 20 and 30 feet they walked.
For those for people that have not, that don't follow Trey and seeing the videos he's put out, which, by the way, go check out Trey Hudson as well. Did you get, did they report back what they saw on the other side when he looked into when they were in the portal? Was it like a different world? Did they feel they're in a different dimension? Did the entire landscape of the land just change? Was it like we all imagine and dream? For those of us that are wondering.
The way they described it is they walked in to the portal area without being tripped over brush and little briars and little thickets that was on the ground. But once they got to the deepest point, they said it was kind of like maybe the temperature changed a little bit, the atmosphere changed. And I remember Bob saying his exact words, it was like a black curtain got dropped down in front of us. They couldn't see the sky. They couldn't see the stars. Bob just said it was like a black curtain dropped in front of them. And that was actually why they turned around and come back out, was that they noticed that change in the environment. And they said once they realized that, they did an about face really quick and started to walk out and walk back from the direction they came. And as they were walking out, they were tripping over like these briars. If I'm not mistaken, they walked in normally. Let me get this right. They walked in, but as they were walking out, that's when they were tripping over like little briars and stuff that didn't encounter on the way in. So the landscape had to have changed a little bit. And once they were back out, everything was normal again. But we quickly regrouped and said, hey, something's happened here.
How scary was that? And they walked in together, correct?
Yes, it was Bob and Tim, and then Daryl was the last one. Like I said, he didn't actually go as deep as Tim and Bob, but
so Barbara asked real quick, was there a temperature change? Did they say anything about that?
Yes, I believe it was a temperature change. I don't think it was like a drastic change. I remember saying it felt different. The environment was different. I do believe it was a temperature change. Now, that's been, was it 2017, I believe? And I'd really need to go back and watch the interview with Bob and Tim that they did. But I believe it was. The atmosphere, everything changed. They noticed a sudden shift.
Wow. So, and you were recording them and you lost them on, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. And at that point, I mean, I'm out here looking for Bigfoot.
Right. Yeah. Like, what's going through your head? Like, where'd they go? Were they,
Yeah. So, in my mind, because your mind, you try to rationalize everything. The most rational and the thing that makes the most sense is they walked into the trees.
Yeah.
We're in the woods. They walked into the tree line. Now, I've been in that area, I don't know how many times, and several times since. I know this area very well, and I know that if you walk right out of the meadow where it's clear into the tree line, you still cannot hide from a thermal because the woods are so sparse. I mean, you can't. You may go behind a little tree here and there, but you cannot hide your thermal signature. You just can't.
Right.
But at that moment, I sat there and I saw the box, and actually through David Pardue's FLIR, or it wasn't a FLIR, but it was a thermal first. And then that's when I picked mine up and started recording.
Wow.
But I'm sitting there looking, and I don't understand what I'm seeing. And he's actually thinking maybe his thermal's messed up. So that's why I got mine out and started recording. As I'm sitting here watching these guys walk in, as we're directing them into this box, or where the area of the box was, and I start seeing them disappear, I'm like, oh, they're going into the woods. They're just walking deeper into the woods. People don't disappear.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, no, I'm looking for Bigfoot. So the obvious thing that makes sense is they walked into the trees. And then they walked back out. That's what's going through my mind at that time. I did feel something was weird, something was off, something wasn't right, but me just trying to rationalize and make sense of what I'm seeing.
Wow. That is absolutely amazing. I mean, honestly, like, you know, I've been around, you know, I've seen the orbs and things like that, but, you know, as far as seeing a portal, and then I couldn't imagine what was honestly going through your head like that, though, you know, like,
yeah, I mean,
your people disappear, you know?
Right. Yeah. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, I don't see them anymore. And you can actually hear David Pardue asking, did they just disappear? You can hear he's picked up on my audio. Did they just disappear?
Yeah. Wow.
And I'm sitting here going, I don't think they're just walked into the woods, but I know that. I know they did. And we've actually even went back and recreated, and we have tried to make them disappear. You can't do it. You cannot do it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's you don't have a magic cloak you can pull over, or you know. And one of the best things to hide a thermal signature are pine trees. Okay, naturally, and all y'all fugitives now you know. But I mean, it's very hard to pick up like from the air and stuff. But this is not what y'all were dealing with. You know, this is like, poof, it's there.
Yeah.
Out in the open.
Yep.
You know,
that's pretty amazing. Real quick before we go any further, now that Rob is on, wanted to wait until you were here. How many subs do you need to get to 5,000?
9. I need 9 people.
So I just looked.
Technically, though, I need 15 because when you hit 5,000, it ends up being 49.97.
Yeah,
but I need 9 to hit 5,000. That's the official number is 9.
That's
but
funny.
that fluctuates overnight.
That's too funny. So it's showing on my screen that 89 people are in chat watching this, and it is showing behind the scenes there are 380 people watching this.
That's right.
So if everybody would go and make sure you are subscribed to Bigfoot Michigan Rob's channel, I am going to hit that out there. That is his link. Please subscribe to that. And thank you, Andrew. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Chris. You know, I do some marketing. I market myself quite a bit, as Tex knows. We did a little bit today. But, you know, hit 5,000, like Tex says, that is a milestone. The next one is 10, you know, and 5,000, I'd be so proud of the work I put into it. Thanks to Tex, the girls, you, Brandy, you know, all the friends that I have. And
thanks to who? What?
I said Tex again. I was supposed to be a sports channel, by the way. It was going to be a sports channel that turned into Bigfoot and Dog Man.
How boring is that? Jeez.
Is that so crazy? Thanks, JoJo. So, yeah, you guys. So I love what I do. I do it for you guys. And in return, you guys, you come on, you watch, like you watch Tex and Brandy and Kristen, all the rest of us. You know, I love all you guys. And thanks for your support and love. Half the people in here have probably subscribed to me. But yeah, you guys, thank you so much. And
Yeah.
yeah, I wanted to hit 5,000 at Christmas. New Year's Eve, I was like a kid, and it was like 49,
Yep.
50. But if I can get 5,000 tonight, that'd be fantastic. So thank you for that, Krista.
Yeah. Well,
Now-
I hope everybody, if they
Yeah.
have not subscribed to his channel, please go do that. And like I said, it said there was 380 watching, and there's now 388 watching. So
There you go.
Now I'm going to for some people I'm going to have to translate what Pancho put up here. He says if BMR hits 5,010 subscribers tonight, I don't know why he's going to be that specific, but anyway, 5,010 subscribers tonight, he'll model his FBPH at the conference. FBPH, folks, if you don't know what that is full body pantyhose. Okay.
I just lost 5 subscribers. I love you, Poncho. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I'm going to counter offer this. So if he hits 5,000 by midnight tonight, I'm just going 5,000.
Okay.
I won't model full belt.
So make sure I am at 5,010 to make sure that does not happen.
That's funny. That's too funny.
Yeah, I appreciate that, you guys. Love all you guys. I love everybody in the chat. It's once I hit that hurdle, we're good to go, like always. And thanks to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And Bristol says if Rob hits 5K tonight, he will wear a Cowboys hat Saturday nights live late night.
Oh, there you go, Bristol. Yes. And speaking of that, I'm on every Saturday night at midnight with the girls and Tex. And of course, Tuesday nights with Krista and Thursday afternoons with Tex. 3 nights a week. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Thank you, Jennifer. That's sweet.
Yes, for sure.
Thank you,
Jennifer
Jennifer.
says, I've already been subscribed to BMR and Tex. And
Yeah.
you need to subscribe to the Blondes. I guess you are. Obviously, you're here. Love you all. Thank you for your fascinating experiences, Kristen. Great guest.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, me and Kristen's been friends. You know what? We've been friends for quite a few years now, Kristen.
We have.
It's crazy. It just flew by.
I'm sorry, Kristen.
Yeah, my apologies, Kristen.
It's been
I was-
wonderful.
I was fortunate enough at the Alabama conference to be able to meet your significant other. We'll call him that.
Yeah.
David. And when they first showed up, you could tell David was like, "Who's this Tex guy she's been talking about?" And I don't have a gentle approach to anybody. I'm just saying, I go full bore. And I was wondering if David was going to be like, "Oh, we need to get the hell out of here right now." But me and him, we really clicked, we really got along.
Yeah.
And it was. I just want to say it was great spending time with both of you, and I'm very blessed to have a friend like you and David.
Yes.
Well, I thank all of you for your friendship. And
No, yes.
David thinks a lot of you guys, is what he said.
Yeah, and not to embarrass Kristen any further, she was awesome at the conference. She showed up, hung out with us at the restaurant bar.
Mhm.
She offered me to pay double for my books if I signed them. I said, "You're my friend." "No, I will not." I mean, you are an awesome girl, Kristen. A person, perfect lady, and an exquisite researcher and a hardworking person in the medical field. Which leads me to a question. You work the late shift. You've come across some ghosts and after-death experiences, have you not?
Yes.
Here we go. This one sends chills up my spine.
Yeah,
I know where we're going.
I know it does.
Did this on purpose, Rob.
I know. I got the chills ready because
Payback's a bitch. Huh?
Yeah.
I mean, a witch. I'm sorry.
But yeah, Kristen, if you want to walk us through like maybe a story, if you're up to it.
Sure. I will tell a little quick one, and then I know the one Tex is speaking of and thinking of, so I'll run through that. But we have an area that's, I guess, active at the hospital that people do not use anymore. So we don't anymore, but we used to go and hang out in those little areas and, play around and joke around with each other when we were on break. Mm-hmm. And I went up there with a girl from lab, and we were kind of joking around, and we were taking pictures, and in the reflection of a window and a door, you can see her, myself, and somebody else standing there with us.
Wow.
Yeah, so we caught somebody. I'm going to call it a ghost. So you can see 3 of us standing there, and it was only 2.
That's really cool.
There's a lot of odd things going on, but that I've had something knock on the wall when I've actually asked it to knock.
Oh,
Something
wow.
has knocked on the wall right in front of me, and wasn't expecting that. So I actually kind of got out of there kind of quick because it was dark.
Wow.
And then one of the craziest experiences was we had a gentleman come in who was quite ill with EMS. Wasn't sure what was going on with him. You could tell in a lot of distress. So we start working on him, and we're looking at vitals, we're looking at his condition. He's not doing well, and he is sitting there screaming that his feet are burning, his feet are on fire. And I'm actually looking at his feet going, okay, did you burn yourself? Is there a chemical burn going on? Thinking maybe he burned himself.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know, and we can't get enough information out of him to figure out exactly what is going on. But he's sitting there screaming about his feet burning. Then he starts screaming about he's on fire, he's burning. And then he starts screaming about demons and, things coming to get him. And the fear in his eyes is something that I won't forget. He is seeing something.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He is seeing something that I can't see. He is feeling things that is not pleasant.
Right.
And we're actually watching his heart rate, and all of a sudden his heart rate starts dropping, and he goes into asystole. We lose a heartbeat on him, and he ends up passing away.
Oh man.
Wow.
But the moment before he passes, I can't even tell you how many minutes. I'm gonna say 5 minutes or so. I believe we worked on him. And between him screaming and him passing, it sounded like pure torture.
Wow.
So I always think he was going somewhere where it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Wow.
Are you okay? A little chill.
Yeah, I'll be all right. Now, and folks, not many things give me the
Tex is absolutely right, but Tex does not freak out. Tex goes in closed closets and conjures up demons and wants to fight them.
Quit telling people I conjure up demons, will you?
You attempt to. You're like, come on, let's fight.
I confront them. I don't conjure them.
You do. You do. You inadvertently, in your subconscious mind, you bring that about. I know that, Tex. You do. You won't admit it. You don't think you do, but you do. If you have the thought.
Well, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. All you have to do is be right with your maker, and you won't have the issue that man went through. All he needed to do at that point was ask for Jesus.
Yeah.
That's what I believe anyway.
I agree. Well, and I've said this about this encounter and it's one of the most powerful encounters that I've ever heard. And I mean, across the board. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I've said this before, if this encounter don't lead you to Jesus, nothing will. I'm just saying.
Right.
Because that, to me, removes all doubt that there's a bad place to go. And it don't always end well, I would love, and this is, I guess maybe this is the true crime aspect of me coming out, but I would love to find out more about him as what he was like as a person.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. What was going through your mind at that time? I know you were probably like trying to save this man, so that probably honestly was the last thing from your mind at that point was, like thinking, oh, maybe it's demons or something we got here or.
Oh, well, honestly, I was sitting there going, this isn't good. And seeing how he looked and hearing his screams and looking at his face, that fear he had and that wide-eyed look of just fright.
Wow.
I was like, okay, this is just more than medical. Obviously medical, there's stuff going on, but there is a spiritual side. I knew it.
Yeah. Did you know what he did pass away of?
No, I still don't know actually what led up to his passing. Oftentimes you'll get people in by illness who cannot give you a history. You don't know, but obviously they're in distress. So you start working on them and you start saying, oh, well, this isn't good. Oh, that's really bad. Oh boy, get ready because we know what's going to happen next. And that's the way it was with him. And I wasn't, I didn't know the guy.
Yeah.
Not familiar with him. In this small town and surrounding areas, you often know the people you deal with. I didn't know him, so I don't know any history on him.
Wow.
It's patient privacy, but even if I wanted to, I can't remember his name because I deal with so many.
Yeah. Totally understand that. Yeah, that's wow. That's quite a encounter. Even had that been me in your place, I can't imagine what kind of effect that had on you for, something like that. It's got to stick with you. It's not the fact that he passed away, because you see that all the time in your profession. However, but just what he was going through, that to me, that would almost be like a trauma for myself.
Yeah, you don't get those deaths often. And I've dealt with many deaths that are unexpected. I've dealt with people passing that, they have a medical condition. It is expected, and they pass peacefully.
Yeah.
But this was something that I will never forget.
No.
But a few stick out in my mind, and a few that will probably stay with me forever that I will not forget. And that was one of the top ones.
I'm sure that won't, Kristen.
Wow.
I had a question for you too. And it's kind of a broader question, and this has nothing to do with paranormal, cryptids, or anything. Being your profession, what you do with doctors, nurses, again, being in your field, it takes a strong person, I think. And what I mean by that is when you see people that are terminal, people that are no longer with us, and you care for them for weeks and months, perhaps, as a doctor or nurse, and even the people that attend to them on a daily basis. That's got to that's a mental, I don't know what it is. To me, it would be like a mental strain. You got to be really mentally tough to take out the challenge, right? When you deal with that. How do you train yourself? Even doctors, they're in surgery and they lost someone. They're like, and they have to come out and tell the parents, the husband, the wife, I'm sorry, we lost them. That takes a very strong, powerful mind to hold back the tears and say, what am I doing this for? How do you conceptualize all that?
It's just sad to say, but it's almost as if you kind of become accustomed to dealing with death.
Yeah.
And tend to box it up, because you may have a patient pass, but then 20 minutes later, you got to walk into another room and smile and be happy. And, you can't do a total disaster.
Mm-hmm.
But the people you work with, they go through it as well. So we act as each other's therapists.
Mm-hmm.
You're if you were solo, if you were alone, if you didn't talk about, you bottled it up, held it in, over time, it would eat you up. But luckily, the people you work with, that's what helps you get through it because they're in it with you. And I know Tex can probably agree to it. You do have to unload sometimes. There are times when just everything comes to a head and you just kind of have that little mental meltdown. Gather yourself up, take a deep breath, be thankful for the loved ones that's still here, for your help, and continue on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're right. You have to develop the ability to compartmentalize. And honestly, and I'm not speaking out of school, folks. I was in the medical field for a while. I mean, nothing like her, but I was a medic / firefighter for a while. And you have to learn to compartmentalize the stuff. You do your job and then deal with it afterwards. And and I know this is going to sound bad, but your folks, a lot of your folks in the medical field and your first responders, that's why they have such a warped sense of humor.
No,
that's how we deal with it. Because me and Kristen can have conversations that I can't have with anybody else because they don't get it, So yeah, it's, and you dealt with it a lot more, and I think more on a personal basis than I ever did because I was dumping them off to you, and y'all were having to deal with it, more. I did get my taste of it, but it's I take my hat off to all of you because y'all are amazing at what you do, and you very rarely get to see somebody on their best day. It's usually on their worst.
Yeah,
That's
true. I agree, and we definitely have a little bit of a warped and weird sense of humor, but you have to. I mean, if you don't laugh at times, you'll be crying.
Probably so. And again, this is a great show that we have going on, Krista. But since we have Kristen on, really quickly, just one last, I'll PayPal you $100 for this therapy session I want you to give me. Because I know what the rates are, and I know you don't know a lot about psychology. When I owned the bar, and this is what was tough for me, I owned it for 13 years, and I always have a lot of regulars coming, Kristen, right? Serve them every single day of the week, whether I worked or not. And I, as a businessman, loved the money that I got, but as a human being, I started to questioning myself. This guy's a stone cold alcoholic. You don't look good. But I looked the other way, and then throughout 13 years, I know 20, 30 people that died from alcoholism. And they all were patrons of my bar. I went through, one of the reasons I sold the bar, I never told this to anybody. I started feeling guilty that I was killing people. Literally, I'm sorry to say that on air. I'm sorry, Krista, on the live people. I know it wasn't me. Everyone has a choice, but you go through it every day, and people I've known for 10 or 13 years died because of drinking, and I was the hand giving them the booze. I had to go. I'll tell everyone listening, I don't care. Rob's an open guy. I had to go to a psychiatrist because I started feeling guilty about what I was doing. I thought I was a bad man. You know what I mean? And, I'm over it now. I moved on. But I must tell you, I don't know if we got on this tangent, but I felt like telling this because it's deep rooted inside me, I don't feel guilty anymore. But with what you do, what's your advice on that? Because I'll send you the money later. I'm just saying, what's your opinion on that? Am I I'm a normal guy, right? I'm a businessman.
Yeah, yeah, you're normal. Matter of fact, I mean, that just shows you how human you are.
Right.
I mean, how you care. That right there, because now, sad to
Mhm.
say, but in this world, people wouldn't think about others. They'd just be like, oh, I made $20 off of them tonight. Oh,
Right.
well, I'm sorry they passed, but at least I got that money in my pocket.
Yeah,
Right.
see, I have a problem with that.
Mhm.
So you cared enough for it to bother you. You cared about people. And that's something that this world is really lacking.
Mhm. I agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You didn't force them to take those drinks, Rob, you know?
Yeah, I know.
No.
I am over it today, but I mean, I really struggle with it for after a while. I did. I'm honest with you guys. I was like, man, am I, well, I'm not going to get into that, but I just felt bad. You know what I mean? I'll leave
Yeah.
it there.
But also look at it this way, you may have served them alcohol. Well, what about that fast food workers that hands that huge McDonald's Big Mac meal to that same person every day that they end up dying of like a heart issue?
Oh,
Mhm.
I mean, it's kind of the same thing. What about the car dealer that sells somebody that nice new Charger they got, and then they go out, run 100 and get killed?
Yep.
Everyone plays a part in it, but it's not.
Their fault.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Let's talk about something happy.
Yeah, I just had to say that because we had Kristen on, and I just went down that road because these thoughts popped in my head, and that's typically I fly by the seat of my pants. Everybody,
I know. I just giving you a hard time.
I know you are.
A hard time. But I do have a
The
question.
happy thing is, I need 8 more people for 5,000. Come on,
Have you
Let's do
looked
it.
recently? Look again. Where you at?
I don't know where I'm at.
See where you're at.
You're so cool. You're also awesome. Oh, I lost 5 subscribers after that spiel. Just kidding.
Well, I'll tell you what. I just looked here real
Oh,
time.
49.93. 7 more.
Okay, so there's been more people hop on and have watched or that are watching the show because right now the real time thing is showing 508 people watching this show right
that's
now.
fantastic.
So I'm telling you, if every one of you could make sure that you are subscribed to BMR's channel, he would most graciously appreciate it. And I just shared the link.
Thanks so much. 7 away. It's looking like 7 away. 7 to 5. The mighty 5,000.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm embarrassed right now. Not really.
So, Kristen, I got a question for you about the meadows. You were talking about all the weirdness and the portals and all of that kind of stuff. What about Dogman? Have you encountered anything like that out there? Or?
Not yet that I know of.
Right.
Not yet. I know there have been reports in the area of Dogman, but I've not experienced, I don't think my group has actually experienced Dogman in the field, in the meadow yet.
Okay.
And, it's that's a weird subject. We've had Bigfoot activity, but at this point, no Dogman encounter.
Wow. Well, that's a good thing, though.
Yeah. Yes, I know. Greg's film, Cryptic Expedition: Land Between the Lakes. He talks a good bit about Dogman and the Land Between the Lakes portion.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they've had more experience than I have with the Dogman. And so one day I might just take a little trip up there and see what I can find.
You need to take a trip up to the LBO, at least just once, so you can at least say you've been there.
Yes. And so I want to make my way up there. I want to make my way over and see Tex, and who knows?
Yeah. Yep. Well, still, once again, open invitation for the conference.
Thank you.
So let's get back on the meadows here too, because I know I've talked to Greg and stuff, and tell me about orbs that you've seen out there.
Yeah. The orbs we see in the meadow, various colors, various sizes. Usually they're more fleeting. You'll see them for a few seconds and then they're gone. And we've actually had a team member mistake a green orb for someone's headlamp. And green, I don't know, you don't hear too often of green I usually get them white or whitish blue or orange, but we were actually out in the meadow investigating, and a team member thought he saw us coming back from the meadow and saw someone wearing like a green headlamp bobbing down, up and down. And I think when we didn't, or what he thought was us, we didn't reach base camp, he radioed in, hey, where you guys at? Saw you come down the trail. What's going on? Where are you? And none of us had actually come in. We were still out investigating the meadow. But he said it looked like someone's green headlamp bobbing towards him.
Wow.
He got to see that. I've actually seen, so many orbs. But the ones I see are usually white, whitish, bluish, every now and then a reddish color.
I saw one my first trip to the LBL. There was about 10 of us sitting outside. We were around the fire, and it was actually Martin Groves was telling his encounter. And off in the woods, all of us were seeing orbs. Some of them were white, some of them, different sizes. But the one I saw, and somebody else also saw the same one I saw, was about the size of a beach ball, and it was a reddish orange.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it just really like flipped me out because I'm a ghost girl, and so my first orb that I saw was in a haunted location. It was a blue ball, and it was about the size of maybe a softball. So to me, I always associated the orbs with ghosts. But man, that was pretty incredible. So do you see like different colors and stuff out there too?
Yeah,
besides the green. Yeah,
different colors out there. My first orb encounter was probably my best orb encounter to this day, and it was in North Carolina. I was investigating, and I mean, this changed my perspective. I don't know what they are, but it was obvious that whatever this ball of light was I saw had intelligence behind it, whether either it was intelligent or something controlling it was intelligent. But it was quite large, one that morphed into another that was circling around the center one, and then it started coming towards us. And Bob turned his headlamp on, like he always had the best look at it, but his headlamp would light up at a sensitive area, but he turned his headlamp on and they disappeared.
Wow.
But I tried to capture it on video, thermal. I mean, nothing was showing up. Matter of fact, it killed I think it was my camera battery. It wouldn't even cut on. And they were not showing up on thermal, but it was probably in between. I wouldn't say it was as big as a beach ball. It was approaching on that size.
Yeah, pretty good size.
Amazing.
I wonder what like the different colors, if they mean like they're certain creature, or I don't know, is it their auras, or I mean, like what are they?
I don't know, but they're fascinating.
I agree. I absolutely agree. And just be able to see them with your eyes is something pretty special, because we've all seen them on pictures and that kind of thing, but to actually see them, it's pretty amazing. So
the last outing at the meadow, I got a good look at one, and it was like I saw it once. I was like, oh, here it is. And then it was like, boom, a little closer. I'm like, oh, here it is. And then another flash. Oh, it's right in front of me. And that last time it was like super bright. And I was like, oh, should I try talking to it? I don't know. I believe Greg and Brent and Janice, they've all tried that and have had good responses. So I talked to it a little, and I was like, sounding a little weird now. I'm sitting here talking to a light in the sky or a light in the woods. But
well, Greg had said, when I talked to Greg about when he saw an orb one time, it was intelligent. He was getting responses from it. And that's pretty amazing in itself, I think.
I agree. And that's what I'm saying. Obviously, there's got to be intelligence within it, or it's being controlled by intelligence.
Yeah, absolutely. So back on Greg's film, you were there the night with him when he was doing the Estes method. And he talked about if you look, there's the shadow behind him, I guess the shadow figure, the shadow man, or whatever you want to call it. But you had said you didn't see anything. Did you? What about your feeling? Like, could you feel spirits around, or we all have that spidey sense that you know what I'm saying, that when something's around. But what were you feeling and that kind of thing?
Freaked out. I mean, about the responses.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird place anyway. And then when you have activity or something happen, you get that freaked out feeling. And you can tell that there's an energy there,
Mm-hmm.
not just us, but there's another energy present with us. And you could feel it at that time. And while I was sitting there, I believe Brent and Janice saw it. And it was captured on film, and you can actually see it on his film as well. But me, I was sitting right there in front of him. I didn't see it.
Wow.
And a lot of people will see shadow people in the meadow. That's not uncommon. I have never seen a shadow person in the meadow.
Wow. What's the history of the meadow? What does it go?
That's kind of where I was going. How did y'all stumble across this? Is the second part of that question. In this area.
It just kind of like how everyone figures out their own research area. You start kind of looking into areas that have a lot of reports of weird, strange activity. UFO. I mean, that area has a high reportings of UFO activity, Bigfoot, and so. Hey, this is a spot that we can go and camp out, and we'll just see what happens. And activity was there, so we've stuck with it.
Yeah. Wow.
The history, I mean, it used to be an active little area with the town, school, there's cemeteries. So this area used to be inhabited.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, it's just overgrown and
So was it ever like Native American ground, or is there anything like that went on there that you know of?
I'm sure there was. And not sure, but it's got to be. And
Yeah.
There's an old.
There's a lot of these places that I've noticed that like that have the high strangeness, like the meadows, and there's different places. I mean, there's like Marley Woods here in Missouri and stuff, and a lot of them go back to Native American and like the Indian burial mounds and stuff like that. That's why I was asking if there was anything like that you knew of, in that area.
I'm not sure of any like Indian burial grounds around there. Or, I mean, it could be, and it's just overgrown. But I do know that there are cemeteries close by, and we found old structures of buildings out in the woods. You just see the foundation. So it was a little hustle and bustle of the town. And nothing now.
Yeah, that's really, really cool.
Have y'all? I mean, I know the porthole, but what? Like we caught an orb on, and I don't know what else to call it, an orb, but you could only see it on thermal. Have y'all ever had that happen out there?
I know on night vision, they've been able to capture some orbs or fleeting orbs.
Right.
On thermal, I've never had any success on capturing any orb. And usually I will see it, and by the time I get my thermal or night vision towards it, it's gone. I've never been successful. I've seen plenty of it, and I believe Greg may have actually gotten an orb in the meadow on camera. But I think Trey has as well.
That's pretty crazy.
There's another story that you tell, and it's creepy, about the woman that came up to camp, and that's out there. That was out there at the meadow, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, that was actually the night of the portal. And we kind of went back and forth about this. There was a lady that come up to base camp while the portal incident was going on, or right after it happened. A lady and her son drove up And we're in the middle of nowhere. It's night. It's cold. You don't get random passerbys stopping to speak to you. We're pretty secluded out there. And there was a car that just drove up and began speaking with, it was Glenn at base camp. And, he started radioing, hey, you guys need to come back here. We've got somebody who wants to speak to y'all. And we're like, no, we've got stuff going on out here. We can't come back right now. But once we do come back into camp, there's a lady, and she's actually knows a lot of details about the people. Acts a bit odd, has some odd actions, and we've actually verified she is a real person. But the actions that night, I really don't want to go into a lot of detail because we have verified this is real. She is real. So,
Right.
But yeah, it was just odd, and this does not fit her behavior. And I believe Trey actually spoke with her, and yeah, she does remember coming out there that night. But some of the things that happened, not so much.
Not her character.
Right? It's just odd. When someone shows up in a business suit in the middle of the woods, that's the automatic red flag.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. We were at a private, well, actually, it wasn't even a private case. It was the ranch where we always went. And there was a girl out there that she had an entity that was attached to her. And it actually jumped out of her, was jumping in other people. Yeah, it was pretty weird. Yeah, honestly, that was freaky. But maybe that's my point being, maybe something had jumped her, for that time period.
And that's very possible. Very possible. Because at first we were thinking maybe this is like a woman in black or something like that. Or maybe this person is just doesn't really exist. But no, we verified she is real. It's just a lot of things out of character. Just a lot of high strangeness that night. Nothing that night.
Wow.
So I know you don't want to go. I know we're not going to talk about who she is or anything. But when you say she remembers coming out there, does she remember the details that happened when she was out there? Do you know?
I don't think she's ever elaborated on some of the actions.
That's strange.
Right. Some of the actions that were done. No, I don't think she's ever elaborated on that. Like I said, completely out of character. And actually, for any of us, it would be completely out of character. Yeah.
Wow. It's pretty incredible.
I know that place is just.
Yeah. When you go out there, like whenever we go do private investigations, on the ghost side of things, we always have our protection stones, and we do prayers, and and all of that. Do you do things like that before you go to the meadows, just because of the weirdness that is out there?
I don't. I mean, of course, I say my little prayer that
sure
I'll be safe and that my family will stay safe. That'll be my basic prayers. But as far as protection stones or anything, I don't. I'm just like, bring it.
Well, to me, prayer works. It's about your intention, So if that's what works for you, then that's perfect,
Yeah, because I want to experience stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going out there to have experiences. So as long as nothing comes home with me,
right,
I'm okay. And as long as I make it out of there alive, I'm okay.
You're okay. I hear you. Well, we're coming up to the 1.5 hour mark. This has been fun. For sure. You have experienced some things. Let me tell you, girl.
Yeah.
If this weather will get a little bit warmer, because this Southern girl doesn't like the weather.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
You and your significant other cannot come visit me, especially today. It's 13 degrees, Kristen.
No.
You would freeze your behind off.
Well, it was 20 degrees when I got off of work this morning.
20?
Yes, 20. According to my car, it was 20 degrees. And I thought, oh no, I have got to go further south. Georgia is not south enough.
How is 20 degrees in Georgia, Kristen?
Yes, it was cold.
That's
wow.
crazy. Gosh.
I wanted to take a picture of it, but my hands were so cold I couldn't get my phone out.
Well, I tell
What?
you what, Kristen, this week it ain't gonna matter how far south you go, because even down here in Texas, we're in the 20s. So
It's cold. It's just cold everywhere.
yeah.
So it really is. Really is. Real quick, I want to thank BMR. Thank you very much.
Nope.
Andrew, thank you. And JoJo, thank you very much. There's one question here, real quick, Kristen, that I overlooked. Ever had mind speak?
Personally, I have not. My mom has on our property.
Oh, wow.
Something, she had some weird stuff happening. And she was actually by herself deep into the property close to where I had the siding.
Mm-hmm.
She was cutting the trail with a push mower, and she got feeling something was watching her, and she wasn't alone. She got really scared, really freaked out. And she said she could feel something watching her, and she heard something clear as day in her head saying, "Get out." I can't remember if it said "get out" or "get out now," "leave" or "leave now." It was right along those lines. She said plain as day in her head. So I believe she has.
Wow.
That's almost more significant than I don't know. That's crazy. You know, what was your mom's reaction to that?
She said she drug the push mower all the way back, and this is 30 acres deep, with it running, because she didn't carry a weapon with her. She said the only protection she had was a push mower. So she drug that thing up and down the hills to get far enough out of the woods where she felt safe. She was terrified. And my mom, she doesn't scare easily. And it's not unlike her. She would go deep in the property. She would pan for gold. You name it. She was an outdoorsy person. She is an outdoorsy person. And it scared her. It scared her bad.
I bet.
Wow. No, I could only imagine. That's scary stuff. Well, once again, thank you very much for coming on. We definitely appreciate it. And we'll have to have you back on again.
Yes, ma'am.
It's been fun, especially when Brandy can be here with the bad weather coming in. She was like, man, they called her in early, and so she had to get her Jeep prepared. And so I get it. I was like, just take the night off. We'll be good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So anyway, we appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. Tune in tomorrow night. And then tonight after this show, our Paranormal World with Monica will be coming on here in about 30 minutes. And yeah. And don't forget to subscribe to BMR. BMR, do you want to say something?
Yeah. You know what I was about to say? I'm 7 away. And you guys, if you don't want to subscribe, you don't have to. 7 gets me to 5,000. But here's what I'm going to do though for your show Friday. I've just decided on Friday night with the girls, if I have 5,000 subscribers by tomorrow for your show, Krista, I will. Let's do a raffle. I will auction off 2 books on your show tomorrow night if I'm at 5,000 subscribers by tomorrow.
That'd be awesome. And you know what? And we'll throw in a blonde smirch T-shirt.
Yeah. So if I get 5,000 by tomorrow, I will auction off two books. I will sign them. I'll mail them to you. Kristen knows the agony of that. It's a lot of work, but I love Kristen anyway. I'll do anything for her. Fabulous guest. But yes, I will do that. If I have 5,000 by tomorrow at 8:00, I will donate 2 books. We'll auction them off. We'll do that little spin a wheel thing that you did a long time ago.
Yeah,
whatever.
I'll do that. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely, I will. So yeah, I'll have that ready. So all you got to do is tell me that you make it.
That's right.
Make it to
I'll let you know.
To 5,000, and we get 5,010, then we got Poncho.
I need 7, Tammy. I need 7. 7 more.
Awesome.
That's what it says anyway. I don't know.
Yep. So tomorrow night we will do the wheel. I'll have that set up and ready to go. Yep.
Yeah, awesome.
So, all right, guys. Well, until tomorrow night, I guess I will see everybody later. And once again, thank you, Kristen. We definitely appreciate you.
Thank y'all. I appreciate you guys. And go check out Relic Films, Cryptic Expeditions, Land Between the Lakes, and keep an eye out for more upcoming events with the Meadow Project.
Mhm.
Speakers.
Yes.
Look forward to it.
Oh, you know what? You know what, too, Kristen? Speaking of Greg Ogles with the Cryptic Films, he just now Krista and I did a show with Greg yesterday, which is awesome. It was turning out pretty nicely, and he also dropped that show on his Patreon. So for those of you who are on Greg's Patreon, you can check that out. Check that out over there as well.
Absolutely. Yep. So, all right, guys. Until tomorrow, we'll see y'all later. Good night.
Good night.
This is the future. Evolution. This is the future.